Today's lecture is on transistor. In transistor, today we will discuss about the bipolar junction transistor. Okay, so we will discuss about bipolar junction transistor. So what is bipolar junction transistor? Let's understand. So bipolar junction transistor. Okay. What does it mean by bipolar? What does it mean by bipolar? Bipolar meaning in this kind of a device, in this bipolar junction transistor, both type of charge carrier, majority as well as minority, take part into the conduction. Bipolar meaning bipolarity. Both the polarity means electron as well as hole, both take part into the conduction. Both take part into the conduction. This is the meaning of bipolar. This transistor has some junction. We will see later what are the junction, and this device is known as a transistor. Transistors meaning basically it's a transfer of resistors. So transistor words came from transfer of resistor. Okay, so this transistor like this. So this is transistor. We will see later what is the meaning of transfer of resistor, how a signal is get transferred from low resistance to high resistance. That we will see later. Okay, but so we call this device as a BJT. So in BJT, bipolar meaning both take part, both type of polarity, both type of charge carrier take part into the conduction. Transistor, we have already understood transistor of resistors. The detailed meaning of this we will see later, one by one. Okay. Now, transistor has three terminals. Like in a diode, if you see the diode has something like this, P and N. It has two terminals. This is a diode. But transistor is a device which has three terminals. Okay. And what is the schematic of the transistor? So transistor simply looks like this. So we have three blocks here. Okay, we have three blocks here. It can be P, and then N can be sandwiched between two P's, or it can be like this. Or it can be like this. The P can be sandwiched between two N. These two type of BJT are there. It can be NPN or it can be PNP transistor. Now, it has three terminals. Number one, this terminal, and this terminal. Similarly, in this case, this has three terminals like this. And the name of these terminals are, this terminal is known as emitter, this terminal is known as base, this terminal is known as collector. Similarly here, this terminal is known as emitter, this terminal is known as a base, and this terminal is known as a collector. Okay. Now let's discuss little bit about the physical and electronic properties of these blocks. Okay. So this block, the emitter block, you can call it an emitter block. This terminal is an emitter terminal. This block is can call as an emitter block. This is a base block. This is a collector block. Okay. So the emitter is heavily dot. Emitter is always heavily dot. Emitter is always heavily dot. Base is always lightly dot. Base is always lightly dot. Collector is moderately doped. Moderately doped. The doping of collector is somewhere in between the doping of emitter and the doping of base. Okay, so this is the electronic properties we have discussed. Emitter is always heavily doped, base is lightly doped, collector is always moderately doped. What about the sizes? What about the physical properties? The base is the thinnest. Base is thinnest. Base is thinnest. The collector is larger in size, whereas emitter is moderate in size. Emitter is moderate in size. Okay, so what we have understood about the transistor, it is a bipolar. Both the polarity take part into the conduction, electron as well as hole. It has three terminals. One type of semiconductor is always sandwiched between the other type of semiconductor. If N is sandwiched between other type of semiconductor, it is known as a PNP. If P is sandwiched between other type of semiconductor, we call it NPN. It has three terminal, emitter, base and collector. Emitter is always heavily doped, base is a lightly doped, collector is moderately doped. Here if you will see, in case of a physical properties, and the base is the thinnest, the smaller in size. C, collector is always larger in size, whereas emitter is moderate in size. Okay, the size of the emitter is somewhere in between the base and the collector. Okay, now one more important thing, why we call it emitter, why we call it a base, and why we call it a collector. This is also very important. Emitter meaning, if you see the emitter meaning of emitter is which emit the electrons. Emit meaning what emit? It emits the majority charge carrier. It is not right to say it emits the electron, because in this case it will emit the electron, in this case it will emit the holes. So basically the emitter meaning it will emit. So we can write here emitter which will emit the majority charge carrier. Emit the majority charge carrier. Okay, it can be holes, it can be electrons, depending upon which type of transistor you have. If you have a PNP, it will definitely emit the holes. If you have a NPN, it will definitely emit the electrons. Okay, with a suitable biasing. If you will apply a proper biasing. It's not like that immediately as soon as you will make the PNP, it will start emit the. No. As you know, in the case of a PN junction, initially there is a phenomena, but it gets stopped after some time. Okay, when the thermal equilibrium is raised, when the equilibrium condition is raised, this gets stopped. Okay, the diffusion and the drift process, this stopped after some time. So same here, you have two junctions. So at these junctions, the PN junction theory applies, and the diffusion happens and the drift happens, and after some times they can stop the things. Okay, so whenever you apply proper biasing, that we will see later. How do we apply the biasing? Okay, but whenever you apply a bias, it will emit the electrons or emit the holes, meaning it will emit the majority charge carrier. This is the meaning of emitter. Now, what is the meaning of base? What is the meaning of base? So the name itself tells us that this is the base of the transistor. Okay, in this block, if we do any manipulation, any little manipulations, let's say the temperature of this device raised by 2 degrees Celsius or 3 degrees Celsius, or little bit the temperature has been increased, then this portion plays a very important role. If you have not properly designed this block, maybe you will not get the transistor action. Whatever you want from the transistor, you will not get that. Maybe we will see what we want from the transistor. We will see later. Okay, but whatever you want from the transistor, maybe you will not able to get if the base, if this block of the transistor is not properly designed, so everything, the base of the transistor depends upon this block. That's why we call this block as a base. Okay, if we do any manipulation, suppose it's a lightly docked, suppose we wanted to keep it 10 to the power 16 for a certain device. Let's say if we're not able to keep it 10 to the power 16, let's say we do it 10 to the power 17, maybe the whole action of the transistor goes away. Okay, so this is very, very important. This block is very important. That's why we call it a base of the transistor. Okay, now this is collector. So collector is basically to collect the majority charge carriers which are emitted by the emitter. So this the action or the working of this block is to collect the majority charge carrier. It can be holes, it can be electrons. If it is a PNP, it will definitely collect the holes. If it is NPN, it will definitely collect the electrons. Okay. So emitter is to emit the majority charge carrier. Base is the base of the transistor, meaning if we do any manipulation in this, okay, in this block, then maybe you will not able to get the action of the transistor. That's why we call it a base. Okay. Now, whatever the majority charge carriers are emitted by the emitter, this will be collected at the collector terminal. Okay. So this is the meaning of emitter, base, and collector. Okay. So now we have understood many things. Number one, it's a bipolar. Both the polarities take part into the conductions. It has three terminals: emitter, block, base, and collectors. We have already studied the function of E, B, and C. Now we have already studied the blocks, electronic and physical properties. Okay. Now let's come to a very important part of the transistor, which is current in the transistors. How the current flows in the transistor. Like in diode, we already know how the current flows. We already know when there is no bias, zero current. When there is a forward bias, whenever there is a forward bias, the current flows exponentially. And this current is mainly due to the majority charge carrier. Okay, and as soon as you apply a forward bias, the diffuser starts place, and because of this diffusion of majority charge carrier takes place, and because of the diffusion of majority charge carrier, this current increases exponentially. However, in case of a reverse bias, we have a very small current in a PN junction diode, which is known as the saturation current, and this current is basically due to the internal field of the diode, and due to that field, the minority charge carrier flows. Remember this thing. These two things are very important. In a forward bias, the current flows due to the diffusion of majority charge carrier, whereas in case of a reverse bias, the current flows due to the minority charge carriers. And this phenomena is drift phenomena, because when you apply a reverse bias, the depletion region increases, and as soon as the minority charge carriers comes into the depletion region, it take away by the field. Okay, and this is how the current flows in this. So we know about the PN junctions, but what about the transistor? Okay, so in transistors, first let's understand, is there any junction in the transistors? Yes, there are two junctions in the transistors. Now let's name the two junctions in the transistors. What are the junctions? Okay, what are the junctions? So let's say this is a PNP transistor. Okay, let's say this is a P, this is N. So this is P, this is N, and this is P. Let's say this is emitter terminal. Not let's say it's emitter terminal. It's a base terminal, and it's a collector terminal. Okay. Now there are two junctions in this. This is one junction. This is one PN junction, and this is also one PN junction. So, okay, you can call it an NP junction or whatever. It's basically a junction between P and N. This is also a junction between P and N. We call this junction, because this junction is made between emitter and base, we call it emitter base junction. So definitely this works as a PN junction diode. So whatever we have understood in the diode, we need to apply here. Number one thing. This is another junction. So in some book also, in some book, this emitter base junction is also called as an emitter junction. In some book, this is also known as a emitter junction. Okay. Now, this junction, which is in between the base and the collector, is known as the base collector, or you can call it a collector base junction. It's more appropriate, collector base junction. Or in some book you can simply, some book says that it's a collector junction. We call it a collector junction. Does not matter, you can call anything. Either you can call it a collector base junction or you can call it a collector junction. You can call it emitter base junction or you can directly call it a emitter junction. Okay. So this is very, very important. Now, one more thing. In PN junction, you have only two terminals. So you have only two ways to bias it. Either you can apply a forward bias or you can apply a reverse bias. This is only two ways. So this is forward bias and this is a reverse bias. So either you can apply like this or you can apply like this. Okay. But here you have two junctions. This is a one junction. So here you can apply two type of bias, forward and reverse. Here also you can apply two type of bias, forward and reverse. So total in a junction, in a transistors, you can have four different biasing. How we can have four different biasing? Either you apply here a forward bias. Okay. Either you apply here a forward bias at emitter base junction, and you apply here reverse bias. Number one way. Number two way, next method is you can apply here a forward only, and you can also apply at the collector base junction forward bias. Number third way you can apply here a reverse bias, and you can apply here a forward bias, or you can apply reverse at the emitter base junction and reverse at the collector base junction. Okay. So this is how you can bias a transistor in four different ways. You can have a forward reverse, you can have a forward forward, you can have a reverse bias forward bias, you can have a reverse reverse. Okay. So when we apply forward bias to emitter base junction and reverse bias to collector base junctions, we call that the transistor is in an active mode. We will see the meaning of these things later, but right now I wanted to tell you that this has three terminals and total two junctions. So total two junctions can be biased via different four ways. Whenever we bias it forward and reverse, we call that the transistor is in an active mode. Whenever the transistor emitter junction is a forward and the collector is also forward, we call it a saturation mode. Okay, why we call it a saturation mode? That things will clear later when actually we will see the characteristics. Okay, when actually we will apply the bias and then see the characteristics, then at the time of the characteristics we will see why we are calling this as a saturation mode. Whenever we are calling a reverse and reverse, we call it a cutoff mode. Whenever the emitter is a reverse bias and the collector is a forward bias, this is basically a reverse kind of actions we want from the transistors. This is basically a reverse mode. Basically it's a reverse mode. Okay. So we will see each and every aspect of these biasings later. Okay. Right now, what we wanted to do now, let's have a normal biasing. Any kind of a biasing we will apply. Let's say we will apply forward here and a reverse here, and we will build our first basics. Okay, what we will do, we will apply here a forward bias, we will apply here a reverse bias, and we will build our basics. Okay, how does a current, which currents we do not know right now. In a diode we know that there is a current ID equal to I naught e to the power QVD NKT by NKT minus 1. Okay, but here we do not know what is the currents flows in the transistors. Okay, so let now first discuss the currents. What are the different current flows in the transistor? What are the equations of those currents, and how does a transistor works? First, we will see that, and then we will go to one by one. We will go to the different biasing. Okay. Okay. So now understand the working of a transistor. So after this, let's now first understand the working of a transistor. Working. Let's now discuss the working of transistor, of BJT. You can call it a working, or you can call it a different currents. Now we wanted to know what are the different currents flowing in the transistors. Okay. Now let's understand this. Let's make it bigger so that the things can be easily understood. Let's make it bigger. Okay. This is a, and let's say this is P. Let's say this is N, and this is P. So let's say this is ammeter. This is base. So here we can make a base terminal, and let's say here we make a collector terminal. Okay. Let's say this is a BJT, P, N, and P. Okay. So this have majority of holes. Let's make some holes here. This has majority of electron, but very less number of electron, since this is very lightly dotted. This has again P holes, like this. Okay, and let's say we have made it here a forward bias. Okay, forward, to make it forward, P is connected to the positive, N is connected to the negative, and let's say we make it here reverse bias, so N will be positive and P will be negative, like this. Let's say we call this battery as a VEE, ammeter battery, and let's say we call it a VCC, collector battery. Okay. Now we need to understand how does it works. Okay. So let's say when you apply positive bias here, positive terminal of the battery is connected to the P side. Let's say 1000 volts. Just I am taking a number. Okay. To understand the things, let's say 1000 volts moves, because this positive terminal of the battery repels the volts. Let's say the 1000 volts move towards the N side. This, and this, and I'm showing here only 4. Let's say 1000 volts are moving towards this side. 1000 volts. Let's say 1000 volts. Okay. Now 1000 volts are moving. And since N is connected to the negative terminal of the battery, and N has very light number of electrons, very less number of electrons, let's say only 10 electrons, are moving here. As soon as you will apply a forward bias, definitely there will be a less potential barrier here. So definitely the majority charge carrier will move. So here the majority charge carrier are whole, they will move towards the N side, and the electron will move towards the P side. Like this. So let's say 1000 holes move this side and 10 electrons move this side. Okay. What will be the net effect here? So 1000 holes move, that means 1000 holes are less here. 10 electrons are coming here and they will also recombining with the holes here, that means again 10 holes are less there. So that means in this block 1010 holes are less. That means 1010 holes are less in this block. So definitely those 1010 holes either will provided by the battery, or you can say the 1010 electron will go into the battery. By any means you can understand these things. Okay. So 1010, which the 1000 holes goes, and 10 electrons comes which recombine with the holes. So 1010 holes are less here. These 1010 holes can come from here, from the positive terminal of the battery, like this. Or 1010 electron will come like this. So basically you are creating more holes here. Whenever the 1010 electron will go here, you are creating 1010. So 1010 holes here. So basically this will be neutral. Okay. So 1010 holes are moving here. Now what will happen in the base? So this thing, emitter thing is clear. Okay. 1000 holes are going and 10 electrons are coming. Because of that, there is a current flowing through this emitter terminal, because the equivalent number of holes are coming or the electrons are going here. So basically the current direction is always opposite to the electron direction, okay, or in the same direction of the hole. So the emitter current will flow like this. So the emitter current will flow like this, and this will be equivalent to 1010 volts. Okay, no problem. Emitter part is okay. Now, since this base is thin and it is lightly dot, so whatever the holes are going, 1000 holes are going, the 1000 holes, this and this, let's say these 1000 holes when going into the base, they find out of 1000, let's say only 10 finds, let's say only 10 finds the electron to recombine with in the base. Out of 1000 holes, let's say only 10 finds the electron in the base region to recombine with. Okay, so let's say out of 1000, 990 pass directly to the collector, only 10 get recombined here in the base region. Okay, so we'll see now the base. So this, let's say this recombine here, this recombine here with the electron. So let's say 10 holes get recombined here. Okay, 10 holes, number one things. Okay, so when 10 holes recombine here, meaning now 10 electrons are less here, because as soon as one hole will come and will recombine with the electron, that means in the base effective number of electrons are reducing. So as soon as 10 holes are recombined in the base region, meaning the 10 electrons are less. Number one. Number two, the 10 electrons which already passed into the emitter region, those are also less. So that means overall in the base 20 electrons are less now. Overall in the base 20 electrons are less now. 10 which have been recombined due to the holes coming from the P region, 10 electrons which are crossing from base to the collector because of this biasing. So total 20 electrons are less. 20 electrons are less. Okay, 20 electrons are less. These 20 electrons will be provided by this bed, and the base current will flow. So the 20 electron will be provided, so the base current will be towards this side. Okay. Now, why this 990 out of 1010 recombine in the base? Why this 990 will go into the collector? Since the collector base junction is in a reverse bias, and we know that in a reverse bias the minority charge carrier flows. So now whatever the holes which are coming from the P side and coming into the N side, they are becoming here minority charge carrier, because in N type semiconductor the holes becomes minority charge carrier. So these 990 holes which are staying here in the base, they are basically the minority charge carrier in the base. So you have basically injected the minority charge carrier into the base. Okay. So these minority charge carriers will definitely transfer because of this reverse biasing, because of the field inside, they will transfer to the collector. Okay. So 990 holes will transfer into the collector. So immediately the 990 holes will be more in this collector region. So immediately the 990 holes will be attracted by this, or you can say the 990 electron will go and recombine this extra 990 holes. So immediately there will be a 990 electron will go in like this. That means the current will flow like this. So the 990 electron will flow like this to recombine the holes. So basically this is 1010 plus, so this is 20, this is 990. So the overall neutrality holds. Okay, so you have 1010. So basically 990 is removing from this side, 20 is removing from this side, and 1010 electron entering from here. So 1010 electrons going inside the device and 1010 coming from this. But this total 1010 divided into 2 3 IE, IB and IC. So basically IE is equal to IB plus IC. So IE entered, IB leaving from the transistor, and IC is also leaving. So 1010 electrons, which are basically the 1010 holes divided into 20 here, 990 here. This looks very simple, but there is one more phenomena here. Need to understand that also. What is happening? This minority charge carrier transfer of this 990 holes, I have taken only those which are injected into the base because of the emitter. But there are some holes already present in the N side, and there are some electron already present in P side. What about those? This 990, I have only considered the holes which are coming from the emitter region. What about the holes which are already present in the N side? Because these are some minority charge carrier are always present in a semiconductor. So some minority charge carrier electrons are already present here. Let's say 5 of them because of the minority, because of the field, because of the reverse bias field, 5 of them comes like this, and 5 of holes goes like this. Okay, so even if you do not have 990, even if you do not have this battery here, because of that you having 1000 of holes flowing like this. If you do not have this, the 1000 of hole will not be flowing. Even then, this 5 electrons are coming from the collector to the base, and 5 holes from the base to the collectors are moving. And because of that, the net current is always flowing in this direction. Because the current is always flowing the hole direction and opposite to the electron direction. This current is known as ICBO. Collector to base current when emitter is open. This is very important. Collector to base current when emitter is open. Emitter is open. Meaning, even if the emitter is open, this junction is open, still you have the current because of these. Okay? Because of these. Now, what is the overall effect of these 5 electron and 5 hole in the base? Okay? So that means the current will little bit get manipulated now because of these things. What will happen when the 5 electron from the P side will come into the base, and from the base 5 holes will go. Okay, so basically now the base has 10 extra electrons. Basically now the base has 10 extra electrons, 5 coming from the collector and 5 holes going from the base, basically 5 increasing 5 electrons here. So basically 5 here and 5 here. Total 10 electrons has been raised in the base. So instead, so 20. So initially there was less 20. There was total, the electron was reduced by number 20 because of the earlier phenomena. Now, because of this phenomena, you have 10 more electrons here. So you require only 10 electrons. Instead of 20, you require here 10 electrons. So the base current is always because of the difference of these two phenomena. Okay, and always the earlier phenomena has more number of possibilities than this. So always this minus this will give you some base current. Okay, so the base current is because of the 10 electrons. Now these 5 holes are going here, so basically they are increasing 5 holes in the collector region, and 5 electrons have gone from collector. So basically 10 electrons are less here, or you can say 10 holes are more here. So right, earlier it was 990 holes extra, now 990 plus 10 hole. Because of this ICBO, you have 10 holes here. So instead of 990 holes electrons coming, you require now 1000. So basically this completely now changed to 1000. This is how the current flows in the semiconductor, in the transistor. So I have taken the example of 1010. So out of 1010, let's say the 10 is because of the base. The out of 1010, 10 contribute into the base current, 1000 contribute into the collector current. यहाँ से क्या चीज़? So from here, some things are, you can note down some things. IC is always less than IE. IC is always less than IE. You can see here, IE was because of 1010. IC is because of 1000. So one thing is IC is always less than IE. The another thing is IE is always the sum of IC and IB. IE is always sum of IC or IE. Number one thing, IC is always less than IE. Number two, IE is sum of IC plus IB. Number three, IC has two components. IC has two components. One, the part of majority charge carrier which are coming from the emitter, and number two, because of the ICBO. Okay, because of the ICBO. So IC has two components: part of holes or part of majority charge carrier which are coming from the emitter region, and this. So you can say IC is proportional to IE. If these numbers are coming 1000, then it's 990. The total 990 is coming here. If this is 2000, it will be 1980. Okay, so that means IC is proportional to IE. But if you will remove this proportionality constant, let's say you have a alpha here, and what is the alpha value, do you think? So if IC is 990, IE is 1000, so basically alpha is somewhere 990 divided by 1000, meaning alpha is something 0.99. Okay, so that means 99% of the emitter, the majority charge carrier which are emitted by the emitter reaches at the collector junctions. This is the meaning of alpha equal to 0.99. If alpha equal to 0.995, let's say if alpha equal to 0.995, that means 99.5% of the majority charge carrier which are emitted by the emitter are reaching at the collector junctions. Okay, so basically IC has two components. Number one, alpha IE, alpha into IE, part of the emitter current which is reaching at the collector junction, plus ICBO. This is very, very important. These three things are very, very important. Okay, so number one, IC is less than IE, IE is equal to IC plus IB, IC equal to alpha IE plus ICBO. Okay, these three equations you need to remember always. Okay, so alpha is basically the, from where you can see alpha is basically the ratio of IC over IE. You can call it like this also. Okay, now very important thing which will definitely help in future when we will discuss about the characteristics of the transistor. What is the important thing? Suppose you increase this bias, what will happen inside this transistor? This is very, very important, because when we will draw the characteristics at that time, it would be very difficult to understand that, because then again we will not go into the detail of this. Okay, so let's say if one is increasing this biasing. Okay, what this biasing, if you will increase this, what will happen? Okay, what will happen? Okay, so this will create three new phenomena, three new things. Okay, what three new things? When you will increase this, what will happen? This is a reverse bias voltage, it is creating a reverse biasing. So first thing is it will increase the depletion region width. And now since the N side, the base is the lightly dot, so this is a property that when you have a junction P and N, the depletion region width extends towards the lightly dot region. Okay, so it goes more into the lightly dot region. So when you will increase this, so the depletion region width, let's say now let me remove this portion. Okay, now what will happen? If you will increase this voltage, the depletion region width will increase in the base more. Okay, overall the depletion region width will increase, but it will increase more in base. Okay, and the depletion region width will be something like this. Okay, it will increase more in the base region. Now what will happen? It will create three things. Number one, what do you think about the alpha? Alpha will increase or alpha will decrease? What do you think? Now what is alpha? Okay, if we know the nature of alpha, we will be able to answer it. What is alpha? So 1000 holes, 1000 majority charge carrier were going If 990 is reaching, alpha is 0.99. If 995 is reaching, alpha is 0.995. Now tell me, if you are increasing the depletion region width more, do you have more chances? So let me tell you in another way. So out of 1000, 990 was reaching. Where was 10 going? The rest of the 10 holes were recombining in the base region. Okay. Now, if you have increased the base depletion region width, what is the probability? Those out of 1000, earlier it was recombining 10, now will it recombine more or less? Definitely the answer is less, because now you have less space, so less number of chances, less chances to, for the holes to recombine here. So if they will recombine here less, definitely they will be reaching more. Definitely the alpha will increase. So number one, alpha will increase. This you have to keep in your mind, because this will definitely help when we will understand the characteristics of the transistors. Okay. Now, the second thing, what do you think about the base current? Whether the base current will increase or decrease? So the base current was coming from where? The 20 minus 10 was the base current. Remember, I have made it 10 electron, 20 minus 10. So 10 holes were recombining here with the electrons. So basically they are making 10 less electron, and the 10 electron was going here. So basically this number 20 comes, and because of ICBO, 5 electrons are coming here and 5 holes were going from there, from base to the collector. So total, the increase in the electron was 10, the decrease in the electron was 20. Now, as you have now less chances of recombining here, less chances of recombining here, this number will surely decrease. Let's say this will decrease to 15, and since now you have a more depletion region width, so definitely you have more chances to have minority charge carrier. Let's say this number increases to 12. So effectively the base current is what? 20 minus 10. Earlier it was 20 minus 10. Because of the 10 carriers there was a base current. But now you have it 15 minus 12. Because the probability of recombining of the majority charge carrier which are coming from the emitter region has been down now. So this is 15 and this increases from 10 to 12. So the overall difference 15 minus 12 is 3. So the base current, earlier it was due to the 10 electrons or the 10 carriers. Now the base current is due to the 3 carriers. Okay, so definitely the base current will decrease. Base current will decrease and alpha will increase. Okay, what about the third thing? Very, very important. Third thing is also very, very important. Now, one thing which we have not discussed till now, let's discuss that also. So this emitter current, I am not going into the quantitative analysis, but qualitatively, if one wanted to find out the emitter current, total emitter current, equation of that current. So this holes diffused into this region, okay, this is your base, the hole diffused into this region, 1000 hole diffused, okay, and 10 electron diffused here. Earlier we have seen that. So let's say the diffusion graph of these charge carrier, because thousands are just at the surface, at the junctions. Now they have to diffuse. Okay, this is the phenomenon. Okay, because of the diffusion. In forward bias, the current flows because of the diffusion only. We know that. So this 1000 will diffuse further. Okay, so the 1000 will diffuse like this. Okay, as soon as at the surface we have 1000, then 900, then as soon as you will go away, the diffusion will be less. Okay, so the carrier concentration graph, if I wanted to draw, it will be something look like this. Okay, now, and here the 10 electrons, so the 10 electrons graph can be like this. Okay, and the diffusion current comes because of the concentration gradient. if there is no concentration gradient, if you have 10 electron, 10 electron, 10 electron, 10 electron in a disk like this, then there will not be any diffusion current. If the number of electrons are more here comparatively here, then only the diffusion current will flow. Okay, so the diffusion current mainly depend upon the concentration gradient. If you have a more concentration gradient, the current will be more. If you will have a less concentration gradient, the current will be less. This is very, very important to understand. I am not going into the quantitative analysis of the currents, but I am telling you on a qualitative basis that the current depends upon the concentration gradient. Now, since we have increased the VCB, the effective base width has been reduced. So this effective base width is now, let's say this. So this is a depletion region. So effective base width is this only. The W dash new defective width is this only. So now this 1000 holes which have crossed here, earlier they will be having like this diffusion, a concentration gradient curve. Now they have the concentration gradient curve is this. Which one is more? Which one is more? So here that is steep. So definitely if the concentration gradient is more, the current IE will be more. Okay, I'm not going into, I'm not going into the quantitative analysis of this, but definitely from the curve one can understand that in this region, if you have a more width of the base, you have a concentration gradient like this. That means you have some current, but now if you have increased the VCB, since the effective width of the base has been reduced, and now you have a concentration gradient graph like this, definitely the IE has been now increased. This also very important. So what we have studied till now, we have a transistor. We have understood the different currents. So the IE flowing into the transistor, IB flowing out from the transistor, IC flowing from IC flowing out from the transistor. IC is always less than IE. IE is all equal to IC plus IB. IC has two parts. One, the part of IE coming at the collector junction. ICBO is the reverse saturation current. Even if the emitter is open, there is always a small current flowing into the collector terminal. And then we have seen that if you increase the VCB, this will help you to understand the characteristics of the transistors. So when you are increasing the VCB, alpha will going to increase, meaning now there is a less chance of recombining the holes and electron in this region, since the effective base width has been reduced. So if the less chance of recombining, more electron will reach, more majority charge carrier will reach at the collector surface. That means it increasing the alpha. Since the less number of chances of recombining here, it will definitely reduce the IB. Okay. And the third thing is IE has been increased because of this concentration gradient. Okay. One more thing before I conclude the lectures today, I wanted to tell you, emphasize on that we have drawn the IE. This is very confusing in the students, because when they read the different books. Okay, so in different books, sometimes some writer takes IB negative, IC negative, IE positive. Okay, sometimes all the books take IE, IB and IC are positives. Okay, so there is a convention in transistor that the currents which are entering into the transistor need to take always positive. The current which are leaving from the transistors always need to take negative. So if in some books, if IB and IC are taken negative, no need to worry why they are taking negative. No, it's very simple. If the current, so now no need to remember. If we see that any current which is taken which has been taken negative, meaning definitely that current is flowing out from the transistors. Okay, so in case of a PNP, IE is positive, whereas IB and IC are negative. So we can write here IE is positive, IB and IC are negative. So whenever we will plot the characteristics of a PNP transistor, we will take IB and IC are negative. IE we will take as a positive. Okay, and in case of NPN, since in case of NPN this current will flow out from the transistor, if you will see the analysis, if you by your own, if you will draw the NPN transistor on your notebook and then you will do the analysis, the same kind of analysis, you will see that the IE is coming out from the transistor, whereas IB and IC is going into the transistor. That's why in case of NPN, so we can remove this and we can write the important things here, which are very, very important. We will write. Okay. So for case of a PNP, IE is positive, whereas IB and IC are negative because they are leaving from the transistor. If it is NPN transistor, IE is always negative and IB and IC is positive. Okay. So whenever now we will draw the transistor, we will not draw that IB is entering into the transistor or IB is leaving from the transistor. We will show that all the currents are entering into the transistor, meaning whenever we will show. Okay, one more thing. Before this, one more thing is very important. Now the symbol of transistor. Symbol of transistor. Okay, so let's say this is a base. Okay, something on which we wanted to build something, so we call it a base. And let's say these two terminals represents the emitter and collectors. So to differentiate emitter and collector, let's say we put arrow on one, and the terminal on which we put the arrow, we call the terminal as a emitter terminal. Okay, so this terminal is now emitter, this terminal is now collector, this terminal is now base. Now which type of transistor is this? So arrow direction, always we know that the P to N. So this is P, this is base is N, and hence this has to be P. So this is a PNP. Okay, so whenever we will using this PNP transistor in a circuit, we will show always, irrespective, we do not need to remember the things. IE and IB and IC, we will show always entering into the transistors. Okay, but whenever we will draw the characteristics, if it is a PNP transistor, IE we will take positive, IB and IC we will take negative. What does it mean? It clearly means that the IB and IC are leaving from the transistor. Does not matter even if we have shown IB and IC are entering into the transistor. Okay. So in many books, the writer, the author takes IE, IB, IC, all are entering into the transistor, but whenever they plot the characteristics, they take IE positive, IB and IC negative. Okay. So this is a symbol for PNP transistor. Similarly, you can have a symbol for NPN transistor. So this is base. These are two terminals. The arrow need to be made. The arrow need to be made in such a way on an emitter terminal in such a way that it should represent NPN. So if it is N, it is P, it is N, then the arrow direction has to be like this. Okay. So you have made arrow on an emitter terminal, and the direction is from P to N. So this is NPN. So today, let me conclude now the session. Today's what we have learned is, in transistor, we have a bipolar junction transistor. Bipolar meaning both the charge carrier type, both type of charge carrier take part into the conduction. It has two junctions, emitter junction and collector junctions. Okay. Then we have seen the three blocks: emitter, base, and collector. Emitter is heavily doped, base is lightly doped, collector is moderately doped. Emitter is moderate in size, whereas the base is the thinnest, and the collector is larger in size. Okay. Then we have seen the working of the transistors. Okay, in working of the transistor, what we have seen is from the working of the transistor, this is the conclusion that IC is approximately equal or less than IE, whereas IE is equal to IC plus IB, whereas IC is having two components. Number one, the part of emitter current which is reaching at the collector, called as alpha IE. The other component is ICBO. Okay. Then we have seen that if you will increase the VCB, the alpha is going to increase, IB is going to decrease, IE is also going to increase. Okay. So these are three things you need to remember for the coming lectures. Okay. And in case of a PNP, if we will take all the currents entering into the the currents which are entering into the transistor will always take as a positive. The current leaving from the transistor will take as a negative. So in case of a PNP, IE since entering into the transistor will take positive. However, IB and IC will take as a negative. In the case of NPN, IE will be negative. However, IB and IC will be positive. Okay. So this was about the bipolar junction transistor. Thank you very much.